Wonderful. I think we're gonna have a bunch of people slide in here.
Yeah, we'll just wait for
Yeah.
people to get in.
So I just want to mention that this session is also being recorded so that you can come back and watch the video again in case you want.
And if you want to ask questions, you will need to unmute yourself.
Sure. I don't know how many. Do you mind if I ask a couple? Is that okay? Can we start?
Yes,
Sure.
for sure. I guess because it's recorded, then other people, it would be fair to other people, they can watch it later. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sure. My name is Mike. I'm from Western University, and I've been in the kind of the innovation space a little bit for a few years. I come from a mechatronics systems engineering background, a little bit of biomedical as well. But I have kind of two questions about the technology. One is really kind of on how it works, and the other one is sort of on its applications.
Okay, hopefully those questions are easy for me to answer. I expect Professor Ho to also join us for difficult ones, but please go ahead and I try my best. If I don't know the answer, I will certainly write down and ask Professor Ho to provide the answer for you.
Sure, no problem. That would be great.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just trying to understand sort of the framework for where the data comes from, both from a content side as well as a stimulus side.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to understand kind of the storage mechanism and the transmission mechanism. So
Okay.
if I have my understanding from the little spiel at the start and the abstract on the Proteus website was that I can take a mobile device, a cell phone or tablet, and capture some sort of input from it. I can capture either a sound, a picture, or whatever, some sort of stimulus, and then it uses both probably my location data as well as the stimulus to access content from a storage platform of some sort. And then I'm trying to figure out how the content gets onto that storage platform to get transmitted to me.
Okay, very excellent question. The way that the system works is that, and I'm just focusing on the visual stimulation or a stimulus that, for example, concert. So in the concert, the system that provides that stimulus is the camera that is zooming at the stage. And typically in these events, there are large screens that the video feed goes to those large screens for the people who are sitting in the back to be able to see the stage, okay? So our system intercepts that live video feed and then receives the content and stores them, okay? So when you want to use this, when you want to take a picture from the stage, you need to be physically there. So our system establishes a coverage area that, for example, covers the whole arena, like a Wi-Fi coverage, let's say. So it authenticates each mobile application. For example, when you go to the concert, you purchase a ticket, there is a number on the ticket, you enter it on that mobile app, and then you are authenticated. So when you go to the event, as soon as you're connecting to our system, then you are enabled basically to receive content. So at any moment, make a request. When you tap on your cell phone, a request is being sent to our system. The system confirms that yes, it is coming from an authenticated user, and the user physically is there. And then it looks at different things, like for example, the timestamp of the request, and then matches it with the content that at that moment was being displayed. And then it will send you either the content or an acknowledgement that yes, this request has been received, and then it will send the content to you at a later time, or as I mentioned, to your email address that you entered when you wanted to download the application. So in that way, we provide you with the content that you requested. And same thing goes with the video recording. Like you want to record the stage 2 seconds. So you just start recording and tap it again for the end of the recording, and then that video clip can be sent to you.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that makes good sense. And so I guess like two follow-up questions on that.
Yeah.
And one of them addresses my kind of my application question. And so I saw the abstract talked about advertisement and targeted advertising as well.
Yes.
And so I think the answer to my main question may be rolled into here, and that's, is the customer, the person who's paying for this service, the content provider then? Like who pays for this?
Well, I'm glad that you asked this question. This is one of the things that you would like to see what the hopefully people who will be working on this project come up with. But I can give you some ideas. It really depends on the context in which the system will be used. So for concerts, maybe one of the viable models would be corporate sponsorship. For example, Coca-Cola comes and sponsors this event. So that sponsor pays for the system, and audience will get free, basically, pictures or recordings. The important point here is that some of these events might not be easy to get into, or a section of this market might not be so easy because of the digital rights. You may have heard about, actresses and singers that, sued production companies for not following their digital rights. So in those sort of, applications, one thing that needs to be sorted out is the digital rights, like in terms of concerts. There have been cases that the event organizer has all the digital rights, and then they can provide that with the corporate sponsorship and all of that. So this is a case by case. In convocation, for example, there's no, or I should not say there's no, but that risk is very minimal, or that barrier to entry is very minimal, because universities these days open it up to the public. So the digital rights is of a lesser of a concern.
Okay. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Welcome. Those two questions were very, very good and excellent questions.
Well, thank you very much. I hope they helped others too.
Okay. Any other questions from other people?
Yeah, so for hi Kazo.
Hi Mark.
Hello. So for how it works, is there like you're taking in not just the location but also the stimulus? So is there like a circumstance where you'll just have only like the location, like someone walks into the concert and basically as soon as they open the app they get the content, or is there a special, I guess, case with having to also record the stimulus?
Well, this invention is based on the user action. So the main differentiating point of this invention is it is the user that initiates this request. So it differs from blind bombarding end users with commercials or things that can be viewed as a spam, right? So the person sees something interesting and they want to know more about it. It's like a market pool, kind of, the user wants information.
Right.
So this is one requirement, that they initiate the process. And the other thing is their location. So, for example, industry show, there might be different booths and different locations that are using this system. So you have to be close enough, or your location matters in order to be able to get the right content. So location-based aspect, and also the fact that the user needs to initiate this based on a sensory stimulus is differentiating factors. And also, The other thing that differentiates this is that for content that is time varying, like a video or like a slide, that the content changes, this invention can provide much more value than other constant, let's say, content. Because sometimes people may think of this, that, okay, so what's the difference between this and, for example, a NFC? So if I go somewhere and there is an NFC mark, I can just use my cell phone in order to get content from that beacon. But that is like stand still, like fixed, constant content. It's not a content that changes, you know, every second or even faster than that. And there are also different other aspects for this invention when you compare it to potentially comparable technologies.
And is there like a component where there's almost like a sharing component amongst the users? So like if there's multiple users, it gives them like, I don't know, almost like a breakout room to be able to share content with each other?
Well, it is being like each user uniquely make the request, and I would like just to use the concert example. So each user uniquely requests different things, or maybe sometimes they request the same thing at the same time. So one of the things that we are thinking about is that when a user goes to a concert, for example, and they click on 10, 20 different moments, then, you know, all the selected pictures can be sent them in a picture, in a collage of picture, which would be, you know, dedicated to that specific event. So it would be a keepsake of that event.
I see.
So it's my point being that, you know, it's gonna be sent to each individual users, and it's up to them whether they want to share it on their social media afterwards or share with other people. It's up to them. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Good.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So any other questions from audience? Hi, Elizabeth. Hi.
You can unmute yourself if you want to ask a question.
Well, I don't have any questions. I'm just listening in right now.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fair.
Thank you, though.
You're welcome.
Khosrow, Dr. Ho hasn't been seen. He's not in the main room.
I thought that I saw that Professor Ho joined the main room.
He did, but it's not clear where he is at the moment.
Okay. Hopefully he can join us soon.
Was there any content you wanted to provide? Or was it all in the original slide deck?
Well, it was all in the original slide deck. For people who would want to know more about the technical side of things, I mentioned the number of 2 US patents that have been issued on this technology. You can, you know, access them online, and if you would like to gain more insight into the technical details, you're more than welcome to actually do a review. And as I indicated, Professor Ho and I will be more than happy to answer your questions either today or after today, whenever. If you select to work on this invention and you have questions, certainly we would be more than happy to answer any questions you might have.
That'd be great. Yeah, those patents are probably a good source. I assume everybody knows how to use Google Patents to look them up.
Yes,
I
it's
have one more. There's no another one on the floor right now.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Can I ask one more if there's no more from the
Of
floor?
course, yeah, of course.
Is there, so what happens? So let's say that I'm at a concert and I take my phone out to take this picture, but I happen to purchase front row seats and I might have a better viewpoint than the concert AV crew. Is there any mechanism to harvest the content off of my personal device and maybe compensate me for it?
Not something that has been anticipated in this invention.
Okay.
So the idea here is that, the camera that, like, let's say that the AV system in each venue, they have the best view or, the quality that they can get from the stage.
Sure.
And another aspect of this invention that might be good to mention is that what if there are a number of displays in the same venue? How you make sure that you request the right content, like one camera might be showing the artist from the front side and the other from the side. So there is a mechanism that this invention can use the sensors in your cell phone to actually calculate the direction that you are holding your cell phone. So if you are pointing your cell phone toward screen 1 and actuate your cell phone, the system will send the content that was being displayed on that display to you, as opposed to other screens.
Great.
And the other application that I very briefly mentioned is the business presentations. Personally, I have been in a lot of presentation sessions that I took out my phone and I just tried to take a picture from the slide that was being displayed. And oftentimes I had to repeat that because I couldn't get the best quality at this first time, and depending on where I was sitting, it might have been like impossible to get a very clear picture. So for those applications, also the system can provide value when for example, large events that have different presentation sessions or concurrent sessions, and people want to quickly take a picture from the slide, they can use this system very efficiently.
That's great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I guess during COVID, it's hard to test, but have you had an opportunity to test and see what the uptake is? Like,
it's very interesting that you mentioned this, because after that we built this prototype and we optimized it. We discussed this with the university, and our plan was to test this for the convocation that the university was planning for the springtime. And then, all of a sudden the COVID hit and all those plans were kind of put on hold. Well, we were talking with the university in order to use this system in a different event, and then eventually we wanted to use that for the convocation in the summertime. But because of the COVID, unfortunately, we couldn't do it. We also had some contacts with a local company that provides AV systems for large events, and we made sure that our system is compatible with the standard that is currently being used for AV systems. And so we did all of those arrangements, and unfortunately COVID caused us to put the plan on hold for now.
Yeah, fair enough.
Hopefully we can go back to pre-COVID situation in the light of these two vaccines that show promise very soon.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Maybe Khosrow, if you could just repeat the answer to Mike's earlier question about, what the thoughts are about, or the preliminary thoughts about who might pay for access to this.
Yes.
The user who's taking the photo, or the content provider, and how you've thought about that. And of course, to all the people in the audience, if you're thinking of this, you can come up with your own ideas about who might pay for this, or how you might monetize such a technology.
Yes, exactly. So as I indicated, it depends on the application. So in concert cases, maybe the corporate sponsorship. In convocations, it might be the end user that receives pictures. So if you compare this to the typical amount that people would pay for convocation pictures, those pictures are very expensive. If you want a professional person to take a picture, so when you compare that, like $70, $80, and if you compare that to each picture that the end user may take this way, if they pay 50 cents or something like that, and then you have the economy of a scale, like people, 50 cents is nothing, and these events are lifetime, once in a lifetime, so people won't mind to take 5, 10, 20 pictures. So that might be a viable option for convocation that the end user would pay. And for business, another thing that is important these days, and I would like to mention, is especially for sport teams, fan engagement is a hot topic these days. Like all of these different teams, they would like to make sure that the fans who visit their stadium, they are provided with the best experience. So they have used different strategies in order to make sure that fans are, having a good experience when they, for example, purchase things like concessions, and the way that they book their tickets and all of that. So this technology can be packaged as part of the fan engagement platform that different teams or stadiums are being able to offer to their audience or fans, basically. So in that case, maybe the event organizer would be someone who pays for this because they want to provide the best experience for the audience.
You may get sponsors as well too.
Yes.
So if you can somehow embed a sponsorship information in it, or a logo or whatever,
Yes.
and if that gets a lot of social media play, that's worth a fair amount.
Yes, and further to that answer, Colin, one of the initial thoughts might be that people would get their pictures with a watermark logo of the sponsor for free. But if they want to have higher quality without any watermarks, then they need to pay something. So that might be also a model that may work. So these are the things that basically the commercialization team needs to focus on and weigh them, that, okay, which model might be the best model for which application.
I don't know if you saw the photo of the person catching the football in a recent football game where they squeaked by with a last-minute touchdown.
Okay.
They said that photo was worth $5.3 million.
Wow. That's
because the person who caught it was wearing a Nike glove to catch the football.
Mm.
And they estimated that photo alone was worth the 5.3 million to Nike.
Wow.
And because the player wasn't a Nike sponsored player, he doesn't get any of it. But had he been a Nike sponsored player, he might get a cut.
Yeah.
So there's lots of, ways of potentially using venue photos, especially in this day and age when advertising is primarily monetized through social media now.
Yes.
And so it'd be really interesting to see creative ways for the teams to come up with to different ways to monetize this, and maybe come up with ways to test that idea. Like what's the simplest way just to test the idea to look for engagement?
Yes. The other thing that I wanted to just, the idea that I wanted to throw is that, again, in the case of concerts, when a person who's performing on the stage, all of these singers, for example, let's pick one, like Justin Bieber, for example, and I'm just making this case up. So, or maybe I shouldn't mention any name, but a famous singer or actor. Oftentimes, these people have different line of products. For example, T-shirts or perfumes or bags or jeans. So, if they are performing and they see that people are taking pictures, they can use that platform, that mobile app, to advertise their products as well, like the line of perfume that they have. Because this shows when people take picture from an artist, it shows that they are paying attention and they are the fans. So they are there is a high chance for them to be interested in those line of products. This is one. The other thing is that for performers on the stage, if they see that when they did a certain gesture on the stage, and then because of that, the number of requested photos went up, they know that what the audience likes or doesn't like, and they can use that for their further future performances. The other thing is that may be important for performers is their image that for example will be distributed to fans. So some person might take a picture from a direction that is not the best direction for that performer. So using this system and adding an AI layer, the system can look at the pictures and, for example, remove the ones that are not in line with the image that the performer would like to be distributed to the public of him or her. So these are, different value propositions. And in order for this to be successful, all entities in the value chain should be benefiting from this. From the artist, that they can sell their line of product within this mobile application. They can control the image that the public will see from them. From the venue that, by offering this system, more people are interested to attend their events. And for the end users who have this new experience, they can, easily get pictures. And, the point here is that everyone should be benefiting for this to be, a success in terms of commercialization.
Does anyone have? Oh, okay. Go ahead, Libya.
Sorry. So I just wanted to clarify the main purpose of this technology. So I'm not quite understanding. So I understand that it takes like pictures based on the individual who's like at a concert or a convocation or whatever type of event they may be at. But I wasn't understanding when you were talking about like smell or venues or stuff like that. So do you mind please just clarifying that for me?
So I'm afraid that I didn't quite get what the question is.
So I just wanted an overview of what exactly the goal of this technology is.
Okay. So the goal of this technology is, to provide a different experience for the end user. So if we go back to the concert example, when people go to the concert, they would like to take a picture from the stage, and oftentimes the quality of that picture is not good enough because maybe they're too far from the stage, because lighting was not enough, or other reasons. So this invention can provide value when the concert has screens and live feed from cameras that are showing the stage goes to those screens. Our system intercepts that live feed and captures everything, and in one embodiment, it's timestamp them. So as soon as your cell phone makes a request to our system, I need to take one step back. So if you want to use this system, you need to download the application, and during the process of download, for example, you need to provide your email address. And then when you go to the concert, when you purchase the ticket number, for example, has to be entered into the mobile app. So your cell phone is now authenticated that yes, this cell phone can actually take or receive contents. So you go to the event, you want to take a picture, you actuate your cell phone by, for example, tapping on the screen, and our system matches the timestamp of your request with the timestamp on the content, and then it sends that content to you either on the spot or to your online account, like, for example, emails it to you. So for you, it might be a different, or it will be a different experience that as soon as you want, without, bringing your cell phone up in a concert, distracting the people around you, you just hold your cell phone and you just tap on the screen whenever you want, whenever you find the content on those screens, something that you would like to get a picture, high quality picture of. So this is the need that this invention addresses, either in the concerts or sports sessions, or in presentation sessions, like business presentation sessions. When people want to have a copy of the slide, they don't need to bring their cell phones up and again distracting other people. They can just actuate the cell phone and get a copy of that picture that they wanted.
So I'm putting this in quotations, but is the camera like already within the app, or is I don't understand how exactly you would take that picture if you're not physically bringing up your phone.
Okay, yeah, you don't use the camera of your cell phone at all for this. Your cell phone, what is being used from your cell phone is the ID of the cell phone and the communication radio that the cell phone has. Like when you go to the concert, your Wi-Fi radio will connect to our system. So our system knows that you are in the coverage area, like your location is a location that is acceptable for the system to provide content to that cell phone. Again, this is a location-based system as well. So you need to be in the coverage area to be able to receive content. So as soon as you make a request, that request will be wirelessly transferred to our system. And as soon as the system receives that request, it timestamps it. And then based on that timestamp, the system is able to find the right content that you requested, and then it will send it to you using the wireless network immediately to your cell phone, or it will send it, emails it, for example, to your account, online account. So your cell phone is not using the camera at all, because the camera in that situation is supposed not to be able to take a good picture, right? So that picture is coming from our system because our system is intercepting the live video feed that cameras that are shooting at the stage can capture. So they capture the video, our system can make frames and actually find the right frame that you requested and then send it to you. And one of the methods that, for example, the system can send pictures to people is that it sends 2 seconds before and up to 2 seconds after, so different frames, and people can look at the best frame and pick the one that they most like.
I think, Waris, you had your hand up if you want to unmute.
Yes, I did. So I just had a question. So I was wondering if there could be a possible issue of either, some sort of a copyright or maybe even licensing issue like arising with this sort of technology. Because from my understanding, I think it's a location-based service, and then it just taps into whatever camera is being used at the event, and then sends it to your phone or whatever. But could there be an issue of either copyright or licensing with the actual organization that's supplying those camera feeds or whatnot? If you kind of understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's an excellent question. And yes, there are in some applications, for example, concerts, those digital rights, copyrights should be sorted out. It depends on each case. Sometimes event organizers have the digital right to the content. Sometimes the performer has the right to the content. It depends and varies. So in order for this to be a success, a commercial success, all of those entities need to see that they are benefited from this activity.
Right. Okay.
But it is an excellent question. Yes, there are. In some applications, copyrights and digital rights are very important. In concerts, for example. In convocations, that problem is not as severe because these days universities make that content available to the public.
Right. Because I'm just wondering, when you go to those big events and let's say you want to post those pictures or whatnot, could you possibly get in trouble for using those photos provided? But I don't think I think you explained it properly.
Yes, you may, but the point here is that if this invention wants to be used in those situations, there is a preparation in advance. So there's a discussion with the event organizer and the artist in order to sort out all the digital rights.
Right. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that sounds more like a contracts issue than a technology issue.
Yes. And one of the things that's required for successful commercialization is exactly that to secure the right agreements with the right entities.
Yeah.
And maybe the exclusive agreements.
I'm getting a question via chat. Can you describe how this works for other senses? For example, like a perfume kiosk.
Yes.
So you mentioned that in the main lecture, how you could,
Yes.
if there were, it's not just visual, but there's other ways to potentially interact.
Yes. So imagine that you go to the Bay store, and typically when you enter the store, you enter the store from the perfume, or one of the entrances is from the perfume section. So we can have a system that from time to time spray that perfume in the air, and then we will have our hardware set up in that kiosk that that emits that perfume. So people who come close, first of all, their cell phone should be running your app. And then as soon as they are in the range of the coverage of the system, which should be designed for each particular application. Like in this case, you don't want to cover the whole venue, so you need to reduce the coverage area to maybe a few meters. And then if the person is close enough and smells the perfume, and the mobile apps alerts the person that you are in the, let's say, um, mobile content delivery system enabled environment, like in the enabled environment for sure, for short. So the person comes close, smells something, they know that they can get more information about this, they actuate their cell phone, and they will receive the content. What that content might be depends on the retailer, maybe the price, maybe the size of the perfume that they can purchase, maybe the location in the store that they can find the perfume, or something like that, or who has used this perfume, if famous people have used this or own the brand, or some other information. Did I answer your question?
Marley, feel free to unmute if you like.
Yes, you answered my question. Thank you.
Never.
Oh, Abdul, do you have a question?
Yeah, hi, thanks. So I had a question about one of the slides that you showed in the presentation. It was about, it was like kind of a diagram of the different components of this technology.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understand that one component is the phone, it has the app,
Yes.
and that communicates with kind of, if in the example of the artist in like a concert or something. I was wondering if you can like clarify what software or hardware needs to be on their end so that it can communicate like the pictures, but also like you said, the app, if it's running, it automatically picks up location based, like if it's in an environment that's enabled for the app. So like I was wondering what kind of, is it just like a software or hardware that needs to be installed on their end?
Well, for this system, in order to be able to perform, our hardware box needs to be in the concert venue or in any location that you would want to use this technology. So what that hardware box does, you can think of it as a Wi-Fi router. So it establishes the coverage area around it. So if you are in that coverage area, then it establishes the location-based aspect of the invention. So you need to be, or the cell phone needs to be in the coverage area in order to be able to request the content. So that can be done by just establishing a wireless coverage. It can be augmented with beacons as well. So there are, a number of methods how you can establish and make sure that the person is in the location that allows him to request content. So after that's done, so we need that our box in that area. And after that, we have that, we need cell phone to run our mobile application. So what the mobile application does is that, first of all, it will authenticate you in terms of, in the example of the concert, you need to enter your ticket number or some information that you received when you got your ticket that allows you to use this service. So as soon as you are in the coverage area, you make a request, our content server checks that request to make sure that the user is allowed or should be allowed to request content. After that is done, depending on what time you requested to receive the content, the system will check the time with the already time tagged content and then matches them and then send it to you either directly or through your online account.
Oh, okay. So
in order for this system to work, we need our digital box to be in the location. we need our server that can be included in the box or online, and then mobile applications installed.
I see. Okay, so the whoever, like whatever venue you're partnering with, they would have access to the server. They would have to make a connection so that the phone can like request the image or whatever information.
Yes, and then that wireless coverage doesn't need to be like Wi-Fi. It can be cellular network, so you can use public cellular network in order to establish this as well.
Okay, and just one more follow-up. You said like the phone needs to be running the app. Is that like in the foreground? Does the user need to have it always open, or can they give like notification if it's running in the background?
I guess this is a question, technical question for Professor Ho. I certainly can direct that question to Professor Ho and then get back to you. My understanding is that it is very similar to other applications. So if you want to take a picture, that should be the top application that you want, for example, to take a picture. But in terms of running the application in the background to detect the enabled areas, I think it can be done so when it's running at the background. But either way, one of the important aspects of this mobile application should be not to draw too much of a juice off of the battery.
Yeah, okay, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, hi Jason.
Okay, sweet. Hi. Thank you so much for your presentation. It was honestly really relatable when you mentioned that story about like being at a concert and unable to take pictures, because I was at a concert and all the picture I took was really blurry, so that was what's going on through my mind. I was just wondering, so for this technology, I guess, what kind of content can it be distributed? So for example, you mentioned photos of, I think, like the stage. I was just wondering, so are they also able to like maybe capture videos, sound, audio, stuff like that?
Yes, it can. The application, the prototype application that we have can both, the user can both request pictures and videos. So it's very simple, like in the mobile app, very similar to the photo application on your cell phone when you select pictures or video. Same thing on that application. So if you select video, then as soon as you tap the screen once, it's the start of the video. And then after, for example, 2 seconds, if you tap the screen twice, like the second time, then the time that between the two taps will be the time tags that the system will search in the video feed and matches that to your request. So yes, it can be, it can do both. And when it is video, of course, the audio comes with it.
Okay, yeah, and just a follow-up to that. So I know
Yeah.
for like, for example, concerts and these venues, they have like a big screen in the back that's projecting, I guess like a live feed of the stage. So is that the same feed that they will be getting, or are they able to choose, for example, I know there's probably a lot of cameras on stage. So are they able to choose, for example, I want camera 1 feed, I want camera 2 feed?
Yes. This is an excellent question. Right now, our focus for easy demonstration is when the venue has those larger screens or jumbotrons or whatever they call it. So people can see what is being shown on those screens and then make a request on that. Another version of the app can be developed in a way that as soon as you open the app in the event, you can see that how many live streams exist, and you can see them in the form of thumbnails, so that you know how many cameras are actually shooting the stage and which direction you want to get which one of them you want to get content from. At this stage, stage of development, we are just limiting the app to the screens that show each video feed, because it will be more natural for people to direct to put their mobile in the direction of the screen that they want to receive content from. This is more intuitive that, okay, if I want a screen A that is directed this way, I just hold my cell phone toward that and I tap. But eventually it can be shown on the screen so that you know which one is good. But at this point, we think it would be a distraction from the person who is attending the concert. Like, you need to focus on your screen instead of, enjoying the concert. But that is a possibility.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So,
I actually have a few more questions, but if anyone else has any questions, like please go ahead. Like
Simran, do you want to, you have your hand up. Do you want to ask your question?
Sure. Jason, if you would like to finish your follow-up questions, that's fine with me. I can go after.
Okay, sure. I'll just ask one more. So I was just wondering, so you mentioned earlier that basically, for example, they enter the ticket number and they're able to access this our content. So I was wondering if there's like, if this is like a cloud-based thing, or is it like a venue-based thing? So I was wondering, so for example, if I'm home and then my friend's at this concert, can he or she send me the code and I can watch it at home? Like, is that
no.
Like, no.
Okay. That would run into a lot more issues. That's
Exactly.
why this invention is location-based. So you need to be physically there, or the cell phone needs to be physically there, and then it needs to have been authenticated. So again, in terms of monetization, a venue can offer this service, but not to everyone, just to VIPs who have already paid a premium in order to use this kind of services. So that's why that when they enter their ticket number, it authenticates them and enables them to take pictures, but not others. So location-based is very important.
So like we enforce that through like maybe like geotagging, or is it like?
Well, for location-based, one of the things that can be done is that if the cell phone is in the coverage area of the digital box that we have. The other thing is you can augment that with the planting beacons in the arena, or if it's an open location, the GPS information of the cell phone can also be used in order to authenticate that yes, this user or this device is physically there.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. So it's only broadcasted to like the venue and not to like everywhere.
No.
Okay.
That would be competing with TV channels.
Yeah, because I was thinking like if there's a concert going on, like if I can just like lie on my couch and watch it from my phone, like why not? Thank you very much.
That was a great question. Thank you for asking that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Simarjit?
Thank you very much, Dr. Modarasi, for the presentation. I apologize if I mispronounced your name.
No, that's good.
So I wanted to ask about, I guess, potential, maybe possible problems you see with different platforms in the future. So this type of, app, or the way that this would work on a mobile phone, do you see maybe issues coming up between, the use of it on both Android and iOS, if either Google or Apple may, not want this type of a tool to be used, or if they may preemptively restrict a device from using your tool and make something that's only locked down to their ecosystem, if they see a long-term benefit to ensuring customers stay within their ecosystem in the future. Do you think that might occur, or do you think there's ways to ensure that does not happen and ensure the product can be used by whomever has a smartphone, no matter platform?
Well, that's really a good question, and I have to confess that I don't know the exact answer to your question, but it is a possibility that sometimes mobile applications for different reasons are removed from the app stores. I don't know if you're aware, but recently, for example, Samsung removed an application from Samsung TVs. The name of the application was GLVs, and they removed that from Samsung, TVs because of some conflicts with the app owners and I don't know the details, but it happens. This happened last week. You know, the issue between Samsung and GLV's app, which is an app that provides users with a subscription to watch video and TV series and all those things. So I guess to answer your question, this is a possibility. I don't have a definite answer about what happens or how to circumvent that. The only thing that I can say at this point is that for an app to be able to be offered on those platforms, like for example, Google Play or App Store, the app should have been designed as per the guidelines of these two entities, and they have measures to check to see whether an app is conforming to the requirements. And this is what we have done up to this point. So conformity to the level of quality that you know, the app stores want is one thing. I guess your question is regarding controlling your final eventual profit, that, you know, if they don't make it available to the public, then what happens? Is this what your question is?
Yeah, to some extent. I guess it's also, I wonder if, for example, Apple may just choose to come in agreements with various, I guess, production companies who make these concerts and decide that, oh, only if someone has an iPhone can they essentially use this type of service as another incentive amongst others to ensure previous customers stay in their ecosystem and others are, I guess, more likely to enter it, or, you know, or if Google does the same thing, and if that might present problems to this product being used, A, by everybody, and B, from it actually, I guess, making a greater amount of profit in the long run.
Okay. Again, you know, this is what I think at this point. I'm not exactly sure whether that is the case or not. But in terms of, you know, just allowing certain type of devices to use this service, I guess it's possible. Like, it depends on the arrangement between the digital right holder of the content and maybe a company like Apple. But in this day and age, discriminating against, you know, some brands may backfire for those companies. So what comes to my mind is this at this point, that maybe it wouldn't worth it for them to enforce this. But if is it possible? I guess it's possible.
Sure. Thank you very much, Dr. Madarsi.
You're welcome. Other questions?
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Oh, you're very welcome. Take care.
You too.
I don't know if there's any other questions on this, and I don't know. I don't see any clock ticking. I don't know if the time runs out at 6, which it is now, or not. But they haven't kicked us off yet. So
yes. As long as people have questions, I'll be more than happy to stay in the room and answer questions.
Okay, that's great.
Can I just ask a quick general question about the competition?
Sure.
So I know team registration is, I think January 11th. So I was wondering, like, for teams, like, do we need to, like, pick our own teams, or like would it be like the organization help us find teams as well?
In general, you pick your own teams, but I can check in with the organizers to see if there are ways of putting people together. But in the past, people have generally picked their own teams. It used to be more simpler when we used to do the kickoff in person, because you could, you know, meet people and chat with them. It's a bit different now. But it's a good point, and so I'll make a note to discuss that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, just like, I know there's probably people who came as a group, and then for me, I was the only one. Like I don't have a group in mind, so.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Colin, for answering that, because it is the first time that University of Waterloo is attending this competition. So I really didn't know what would be the process for forming teams, but I assume the event organizers have some means of connecting people.
Yeah, and to be honest,
I believe.
yeah, that's right. And I haven't been part of that discussion, so I'll check in with them. And Jason, if you want to, do you have anyone's email address for this event?
No,
Okay.
not really.
Okay, Jason, if you want, my email address was in my presentation slides. I can repeat it here. So it is K, like the first letter of my first name, and then MODARRE, like the first letter of my first name and 7 letters of my last name, K Modarre, at UWaterloo.ca.
And Mike was kind enough just to put it on the
Please.
chat as well. So if you check the chat function, you'll see it there.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So please forward your request to me, and I'll make sure that someone relevant at Proteus will provide the answer to you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Well, if that is it, if there's no other questions, I see some familiar faces there. Gordon, how are you?
Hey, I'm well, thank you. I jumped in at the end. I was learning about some of the other opportunities. But
And
yeah,
Sharif?
Hi, Colin. I'm good. Yeah, I was the same boat as Jordan, looking for the other rooms, and I joined here late, but it looks like quite an interesting technology.
Thank you very much. So feel free to ask any questions.
Gordon, Sharif, and Mike are part of our Medical Innovation Fellowship program here at Western.
Oh, excellent.
So they're in the process of a deep dive into innovation and commercialization.
Excellent.
We've been in scoping out all the technologies. We kind of divided and conquered today.
Okay, good.
It's 7 of us here.
Okay.
So do you mind if I ask a question about that program? Because like commercialization is something I'm really interested in. I'm only 3rd year, so I know like a lot of you guys may be like medical professionals and stuff like that. So like I'm just really intrigued in this field. I was wondering like what kind of opportunities are there for like undergrad students to get involved in?
Yeah, sure.
It's so the Medical Innovation Fellowship is a fellowship. It's a postgraduate position that runs for 10 months. And generally it occurs for those who have an advanced degree. Some people have science degrees, some people have medical degrees, some people have clinical degrees. There's a variety. But you can check out the website.
But I think Suzanne is looking. So Suzanne Armstrong is the coordinator on the Western end, and she is looking at some avenues for kind of expansion and engagement for kind of like little shorter periods of time, little like mini boot camps and stuff like that. So if that's something you're interested in, Suzanne Armstrong is the person to email. She might be able to hook you up with some other opportunities as well.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, I'll make sure to reach out to her. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So I assume that everyone is registered to be on here. So maybe I'll put a note out to Jordan to discuss team building or how to do teams for those who aren't part of a team.
Yes, that would be great. That would be great.
Gentlemen, I'm going to have to hop off, but this has been wonderful. I learned a whole lot. I took a bunch of good notes. And I'm sure my team and I will discuss. So
excellent.
It was
great talking to you, Mike.
And Colin, always good to see you.
Okay.
But have a good night.
You too.
Have a good night. Take care. Pleasure to talk to you. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.
So if there aren't any further questions, Roxanne, I did see your note, so I'll reach out to Jordan and see if he can send out notes to people.
Okay.
Okay. And yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay, I guess that's it. We'll leave the room. I'll stop recording.
Yeah.
We'll leave the room and we'll be in touch.
Okay, thank you very much, Colin, for your help. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And hopefully we will have, team building going. And
yeah, almost 300 people. So, and that's just for, registered for this event. I think we'll probably market it that, people can have teams apply to do this. They don't have to have been part of this event. So it could even get bigger.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And have a good one.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.